Welcome inside the CEC TV studios on the campus of Dixie State University for the 2019 Dixie State Athletics Fall Sports Preview. I'm Keric Seegmiller, Assistant Coordinator of Media Relations and Radio Play-by-Play voice here at Dixie State University, and we are excited to kick things off with the 2019-20 sports year. A year of excitement, a year of change, a year of building towards something even bigger than we've experienced here at Dixie State University, but a lot of games on tap here before we get to those big things in about another year. Here to help us break it down first is Director of Athletics, Dr. Jason Boothe. We'll give kind of a state of the athletics, if you will. We'll chat about a lot of different things here, Jason, entering year 10, and I'm sure that with each of those 10 years, there's anticipation, there's excitement, and it just builds more and more each year, and now on the cusp of making a transition into Division I status next year. Looking back, could you have imagined when you took this job in 2009 that in 10 years we'd be sitting where we are now on the cusp of Division I status?
Honestly, no, but it doesn't surprise me. This place is filled with so many good people that we've done a lot of really, really good things, and to have the opportunity presented to us to consider it, because of those people and the success of our teams, we were in a really good position to honestly get to take a really good look at it in order to make a very educated, smart decision. So yeah, it's another very, very exciting year. Obviously we're doing a lot of stuff for next year for Division I stuff, but we're not losing sight of the importance and excitement that we're going to have this year in our final year of Division II.
Absolutely, and I think we'll see that will be a theme that kind of comes up throughout the day. Obviously, our coaches have to begin recruiting and think about who they're going to bring in for that first year of Division I and scheduling. So it's on their minds, but everybody has a goal to accomplish this season. We want to see a lot of success at the Division II level this year. This could be a big springboard year if our teams were able to do what they need to do.
We sure hope so. And we had great success last year in our first year in the RMAC. Only one conference championship, but that doesn't truly reflect the success we've had. We finished in the top 5 of the Commissioner's Cup, so we were right near the top in almost every sport, winning 2 conference tournament championships in women's tennis and softball, which was very, very exciting. And then men's golf, winning the West South Central Regional and getting to the national championships and finishing 9th. So another phenomenal year last year for our student athletes and the athletic department.
Absolutely, and that kind of previews what we want to get to next here talking with you. We always like to look back and we're excited about this year, but there's a lot of our teams that softball, baseball, they play into the summer almost, and we don't get a whole lot of time to talk about. We brought that up at our all-staff meeting a couple of weeks ago, where maybe internally in the athletics department, they don't get the recognition they deserve because everything's kind of shut down and everything closes down for the summer. But we had another phenomenal year. You mentioned a few of them, and let's talk about some of those highlights. We can start last fall and then move into the spring. Volleyball, the team that we're expecting to do very well again this year, sets the tone, and they win the conference championship right off the bat. Just couldn't have thought of a better way to start it off. Football had its best season ever as far as record is concerned. Beat the number 6 team in the country. You mentioned women's tennis, softball winning the RMAC tournament, and of course men's golf regional title, and 11 consecutive regional appearances. 1 stroke shy of match play at nationals. Huge year for Dixie State athletics last year was.
And the basketball team, we had of the teams that have win-loss records, only 1 team had less than a 500 record, and that was men's soccer, but they were 7-9-2. So right there at being basically 500 or just a little bit better. So a good year for them. But everyone else was above 500, and we finished with an overall winning percentage of 68%, the highest ever by about 7 percentage points. So across the board, very solid, very successful teams. Even with just the 1 conference title, we were in the battle, in the mix there until the end. Men's basketball, for example, finished 2nd. Hosted a quarterfinal game and just ran into a very hot Mexico Highlands team, and we came out on the losing end on that one, but a very good year for them. They didn't make it to the NCAA tournament, which is a disappointment, but that was only the 2nd year in the NCAA's 3rd year, that they've not gotten to the NCAA tournament. That's pretty good. So we feel that it was a very good year to build on, and this year will be even bigger as we build on to start to establish some So more success as we go into Division I.
And I would be remiss if we didn't mention teams like women's basketball. Obviously
Sure.
didn't qualify for the RMAC tournament, but had their first winning season
Correct.
in almost 5 seasons.
Yep.
500 in conference play. Head coach J.D. Gustin has brought in a great recruiting class and has
Yep.
that team right where it needs to be to not only qualify for the RMAC tournament, but push to bring
Right.
home a trophy this season. And it's going to be exciting to see the growth that they're having as well.
We were right on the edge of getting into the
Yeah.
conference tournament, and the progress that team has made over the last few years has been phenomenal. So very excited to see what they do this year as well.
And I just keep remembering things too, and I got to mention these, cross country, women's track. They didn't win team titles, but you had Billy Hatch, phenomenal cross country season, and then she even in the 10K wins the gold, wins the RMAC championship, second in the 5K, brings home a gold and a silver from the RMAC championships. You had in the javelin a third place finish as well, the bronze, and that program has been fun to see the growth. And now they're fielding a full track and field team.
Right, and Billy last year qualifying for nationals and going and running at nationals and doing very well there. So, yeah, we're finishing putting the finishing touches on the throws events and even the long jump facility events at Trailblazer Stadium. So as we expand that program, they're going to have the facilities here right on campus to practice and eventually, hopefully, host a meet and compete.
Absolutely. And if you're just tuning in, you may think, hey, this is the 2019-20 fall sports preview. Why are we talking about last year? But you got to remember where you came from. And there's a lot of great things that happened last year to build momentum for this season. One of those things we already talked about. It's kind of the big elephant in the room. You can't have a conversation without talking about Division I. So let's not want to say let's get it over. Let's talk about it. Let's address it. Obviously, in January we announced we're making the move. Division I status starting July 2020.
Correct.
We'll join the WAC in all sports except for football. Football will be independent. We'll talk about that in just a minute because that's a big question that comes up. Let's talk about the timing of the transition. That's what everybody's, when's it happening? Is it this season, next season? So this year, NCAA Division II, and then we finish this current year July 1, 2020, Division I status, right? Yep. Take us through that timeline.
We basically will have 18 months to prepare, so starting in January, leading up to July of 2020. And so preparations are already underway. We've been doing a lot over the summer for getting ready, but it's really going to get kicked into high gear here once school gets started in this fall and spring, as the application for Division I transition is June 1st. So of 2020, about 30 days before we would be officially welcomed into the transition process, starting July 1 of 2020. And that will be the year one of a 4-year transition period where we will not be eligible for the NCAA postseason. We'll have some other postseason opportunities and some other non-NCAA events, which are pretty exciting. But for the most part, we will not be participating in the postseason for WAC team championships, et cetera, and NCAA postseason for 4 years. And that's okay. It's in place for a reason to allow you to build your programs and to build resources, and we're going to need that time to make that transition. It's the margin of difference right now between us, Division II and Division I competition, isn't as big as you might think, at least for teams that are at the quality that we have. Our softball team regularly competes with Division I's in fall and early spring games, and we come out on the winning end a lot of those times. And that's just one example. Basketball lost to Wyoming on a buzzer beater last year, men's basketball in Wyoming. So it's not like, we're so far away athletically. But when you make that jump, there's a lot that goes into it, and it just takes time to build up for a sustained level of success and growth at that level. And that's what the 4 years will be. We're going to win some games and we're going to have some fun. We can win regular season conference championships. That's definitely a goal of ours, and it would be a great accomplishment if we do that in the 4 years in any sport. So it's going to be exciting.
We're chatting with Dr. Jason Boothe, Dixie State Director of Athletics, here on the 2019 Dixie State Fall Sports Preview. We are live on CEC TV, ESPN Radio 97.7 FM, as well as on the Dixie State Athletics YouTube page. And you can catch us on Facebook Live. They got that going as well, Dixie State Athletics Facebook. You can many different ways to access us. We appreciate you tuning in, however you're tuning in today. You kind of answered this already, but it's the question that I get asked a lot. And you mentioned that 4-year probation period. It's a time to build. It's a time to follow the steps that the NCAA has laid out. A lot of people ask me, why can't, even though you're going through those, why doesn't the NCAA allow you to participate in postseason? Do we have an answer for that other than, well, it's a stepping stone process? Yeah. We might not be ready anyway.
Well, I think it's the NCAA would obviously have to answer what the reason was back, but I believe it's to discourage teams from making too many schools from making that jump too often, because they want you to make sure that you're fully committed and you take the time to vet it and really do it right. So, hey, by the way, you're not going to be eligible for 4 years. Are you sure this is something you want to do? And yes, we sure do want to do it. But I think it's also a built-in time, because there is a lot of behind-the-scenes growth. Like just in our administrative staff, we're going to have to grow that almost like double it, just to be able to provide the resources that we need to provide to Division I student athletes. We're lean and mean right now at Division II, and that's fine, because that's the model athletic department, but we're going to have to grow that. And that's just one aspect of the administrative side. Coaches as well. There's more coaching positions and stuff that are available at Division I as we grow into it. So I think it's a combination of those to answer your question. Giving the schools the ability to grow over time and not feel the pressure to have full scholarships in year one, you can build those up over time to be ready to go in that 5th year, your first year of full eligibility, after you've had time to grow into it.
Of course, football will be an independent. That's the question that comes up a lot. What's football going to do? We're still going to play football.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be an independent. We won't be in a conference, but we've already got some games. Not quite ready to announce the full 2020 schedule yet, soon.
Right.
But we've got some great games on the docket.
The 2020 schedule is done, complete. I'm not working on that one anymore, but we'll be announcing that here soon once we get some finer things outlined and detailed on that. 21 is almost done. And then 22 and 23 and beyond are just slightly behind that, as primarily we have to wait for other schools and other teams to get things figured out and have other things fall into place before they can commit to playing this. But we have a lot of things kind of tentatively out there ready to go, and it's a process. It's been a lot of work, but that's okay. We knew that going in. That's not a surprise, and it's going to be. We're going to have some very interesting and fun games. It's not going to be a cupcake schedule, but that's okay. You know, we want to play the best, and Coach Peterson and the team, they're not backing down. They're ready to go. But they're all focused on this year, 2019,
absolutely,
and doing very well in our final year of Division II. But I'm behind the scenes looking ahead and getting games scheduled and working with them and bouncing things off of them. So 20's done. We'll announce it here soon, and 21 and beyond will follow shortly after that.
Well, that's a great update on the Division I thing. Like I said, that's next year. There's a lot of work that has to go on behind the scenes.
Right.
All of our coaches, and everyone can be assured of this, all of our coaches, all of our student athletes are 100% focused on this season.
It's a big year.
Making some big things happen in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference.
It's a huge year for us, because as you mentioned earlier, it's a springboard year into Division I. So the student athletes are fired up and they're excited, especially the seniors, because this is their last
Those seniors are quick to remind, hey, what about this year?
Right,
you know?
and rightly so. I mean, they worked very hard to get to this point, and for them, they have something to play for. I mean, after this year, like I mentioned, we won't have NCAA postseason. They will still have NCAA postseason this year. Conference championships, conference tournaments. So they're excited for those, and we're excited to watch them and hopefully host a few of those here.
In the last minute and a half that we have with you here, Jason, let's quickly touch on just some quick facility update. The Human Performance Center nearing completion, from what I hear.
It will be the academic side, so the north side of the building will be open Monday for classes. And then the rest of the building, where all the fitness and the pool and the basketball courts and the track will be open around homecoming late October.
And once again, let's just quickly talk about the breakdown of the building. So you got one side that's academic, classroom, and then, like you mentioned, another side where all the
north side of it is all academic and classrooms. That'll be open on Monday for classes, and then everything else with all the fitness equipment, the Olympic-sized pool, the basketball courts, the indoor track that goes up to the roof and runs on the track around some more basketball courts and some pickleball courts. That'll all be open in October.
And to be clear, it's not just serving athletics, but it's serving the entire university.
It's the student rec center, and they with student fees have put a lot of money aside and paid for a lot of that building. So it's their building. It's a student's building. We'll have obviously we're very involved with the pool with our swim program, but we'll take advantage of some opportunities for practices on occasion and camps and whatnot. But it's a student use building, general students. So we're excited for that.
I know we're all excited for it. I know our student athletes are excited for it. Head coach Tamara McAllister is super excited to have her swimming team
as she should be
in there, and that's going to be a huge advantage for our team to be able to have that Olympic-sized pool right here on their campus to be able to not only practice but to host events as well.
It's a game changer for the university for sure.
Yeah. Well, Jason, appreciate you stopping by and joining us here on Dixie State Fall Sports Preview. It's going to be a big year. 2019-20 is set to begin in just a couple of weeks. The first official contest will happen in just a couple short weeks, and you can see that full schedule at DixieStateAthletics.com. We've got to take our first break of the day. When we come back, head coach Steve Gullis and the women's soccer team will join us right here. This is the 2019 Dixie State Fall Sports Preview, back after this 3-minute timeout.
Dixie 91.3. We don't play that. Nope, not that. A big fat no there. That's what we play. And stuff like that. On St. George's only alternative, Radio Dixie 91.3. Oh, and from 9 till midnight, we play this. I need a one dance. And this. Radio Dixie 91.3 FM.
For over a century, Dixie State University has been shaping the trailblazers of tomorrow by providing a culture of active learning, active life. With a paradigm of real-world experience mixed with cutting-edge technologies and rich traditions, we provide one of the most affordable educations in the West set against the most stunning backdrop on the planet.
Dude, we've been here forever. They're about to close the store. Would you just pick something already?
I just want to look good, you know. It's season 2 of Trailblazer Weekly. I just want to make sure I get the right ones.
Look at all this great stuff they have here at the Dixie State campus store. No matter what you choose, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm just going to go with the first one.
Catch the Season 2 premiere of Trailblazer Weekly on Wednesday, August 14th at 3 p.m. Presented by the Dixie State Campus Store.
Where do you find the titans of classical music in St. George? Classical music on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM. Where do you find the legends of jazz? Evenings on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look! Welcome back to the 2019 Dixie State Fall Sports Preview. First team on the docket today is women's soccer team. We are joined by head coach Steve Gullis. We have redshirt senior defender Kylie Alsop, redshirt senior midfielder Alexa Ashton, and junior midfielder Kelsey Cook joining us on the set today. Thank you so much for being here, coach, and players. This is exciting. This is a time where we get to talk about you and talk about your practices and how fall camp is going, and then about the upcoming season as well. Because honestly, I don't have a job if it's not for you coaches and you great student athletes, and we love promoting you and your program. So let's jump right into it and let's have some fun with this. Let's get to know each other and
get after it.
Like we were talking about during the break, it is National Tell a Joke Day. So I just learned that this morning. So everyone be thinking of your best jokes, and we'll get to those a little bit later in this segment with the women's soccer team. First thing though, we're going to have some fun with it right off the bat. We're going to play a little Would You Rather, and we'll just go all the way down the line. We're going to include Coach in it because he's a former player as well. This is going to be simple. Coach, would you rather score a goal or record an assist?
Score a goal.
Okay.
Score a goal.
Kylie?
Score a goal.
Score a goal. All right. Moving on down.
I'll get that assist.
Got to take that assist.
Yeah.
That's good. You get a point still on your stats for the
Exactly.
assist. So
I'm gonna score a goal.
score a goal. That's
Because it doesn't happen very often for me.
that's true. We got some defenders and we got some midfielders in here. So that should have been an easy one. How about favorite soccer stadium that you've ever seen a game or played a game in, or want to go? Bucket list.
Probably my favorite stadium in the country is actually DeMartin Stadium at Michigan State. Some just good
Okay.
memories there.
I'm just gonna go with Rio Tinto because I've been
Yeah.
there before, played there for high school. It was cool.
Great stadium, great atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Rio Tinto. I actually won a state championship there in high school.
Well, that's a great soccer memory for you
Yeah.
then.
I'm gonna go Barcelona. That was my first club team, so yeah, I think I'd like to go there.
Good stuff. All right. Well, now that we've got those questions out, we're all comfortable speaking into the mic now. We're all having fun. Coach, let's jump right into the nitty gritty now. First of all, we want to welcome you to Dixie State.
Oh, thank you very much.
Take us through the last 4 or 5 months leading up to your move to St. George.
Boy.
What jumped out about the job at Dixie State? And I know it's been kind of a whirlwind for you these last 4 or 5 months, right?
Yeah, it definitely
In a good way,
has.
though.
Very, very much so. You know, first, I can't speak enough about the community of St. George and Dixie State in particular, how welcoming everybody has been. Honestly, the kindest people I've ever been around in my entire life live here. I've just never seen so many smiles. I really haven't. And you know, that really resonated with me. I remember, I keep telling this story of I was driving down the shores of Lake Michigan, 435 number pops up on the Bluetooth, and it was obviously Jason Boothe here, our athletic director. I'm like, why is somebody calling me from Dixie State? And kind of laughed, and a whole bunch of things just really kind of tumbled into place, and it's been an absolutely incredible start and an adventure here. You know, I'm getting to work with a number of incredibly talented, gifted, really dedicated players right now, and it's a lot of fun. And obviously, leading this transition into the Division I era was a challenge I didn't think I could pass up, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. And obviously, you get your eyes on the prize right now. We continue to talk about this every day. We're in 2019. We got a job to do, you know, and we fully expect, kind of the team joke right now is, I hope all of our Thanksgivings are ruined because we're in a hotel somewhere eating, you know, some kind of frozen turkey dinner, because that means good things have happened in the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had Thanksgivings on the road and a Denny's before, so you hope you're on the road just eating whatever you can find, right, in the postseason. All these preparations, Coach, getting here, moving your family here, building a staff, and now you finally get to get out on the pitch and get to work. How nice has it been the last few days to actually get to be out and to be on the pitch and to be training and helping your team finally?
I think that's that's what the fun is. You know, people forget all the behind the scenes things. Like, it's really glamorous sitting there trying to book hotel rooms for 3 months from now, and, you know, plane flights and scheduling and all those things. That's why we all got into coaching, right? You know? Finally, we had that opportunity to get on out and get there, and they've really, honestly, as a team, being able to finally see them, you know what I mean, to really see who they are as players and going through. And obviously, it's only been 3 days, but you're seeing tremendous growth. You know, this morning we had our first day of where we were a little slow, you know, and they bounced back. I challenged them, and I couldn't be more proud of them. They really did. They picked it up. They found their tempo. And one of the big things for me is I love to compete. And we're getting to do that now. And these young women, and obviously the rest of them, there's 32 others, you know, that are there right now, that they're getting after it and learning to compete and wanting to win and learning what it takes to compete at a high level.
Ask the players, do you agree with his synopsis of the first few days? Anything you want to add about that? Did he miss anything? Did he nail that on the head? Okay.
Got it pretty good.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
No, let's start with you, Kylie. What's been, it's your senior year, it's your last fall camp, so to speak, practice leading up, a shorter one because school starts soon. But what's been the best part so far? You've had 3 or 4 of these other camps to look back on. What's different about this year? What have you enjoyed most about just getting on the field and getting things going?
So this year we've really just focused on playing, just because, you know, we have a bunch of new players, new coach, he's never seen us. So we really haven't done like too much just like track running, you know, necessarily. So we've gotten our conditioning in, but it's been with the ball. So it's been fun just to get on the pitch and finally play as a whole team together.
I if you're like me, if you put a ball in my hands, I can run all day, but I can't just go out and run. Alexia, you're heading into your senior year as well. What about you? What's kind of been your mindset? What's been your mentality as you've headed into this final fall camp and heading toward this final season of your career?
It's been pretty nerve-wracking just because we're coming in with so many girls and this brand new coach. But what I've loved is that over and over again, I feel like with every type of sports team, you always talk about being accountable. And it's always just a word, I feel like, and it's hold each other accountable, hold yourself accountable. But sometimes I feel like it isn't always capitalized, but I feel like Steve is holding us accountable. And it's helping us be okay, we have to also hold ourselves accountable and each other, and we're taking this word accountable more seriously. We're learning what accountable really means, and we're really getting after it, which is exciting.
Absolutely. We're chatting with the women's soccer team here on Dixie State Fall Sports Media Day, and Kelsey, want to ask you, not a senior, you get 2 seniors, but a junior, an upperclassman still, and a big contributor to this team over the last few years. What kind of mindset have you taken in to say, hey, I'm a junior, I'm an upperclassman now, I need to set an example and be out there and be there for the younger players?
Yeah, it's weird being an upperclassman. Now I feel like I'm still that little freshman, but as I've gotten older and I've done this a few times now, and so I've kind of learned what the freshmen might need as they're coming into this, and it's this whole new world, and it's kind of nerve-wracking and scary, but it's so exciting. And so I've kind of taken what I've learned and trying to help the freshmen get comfortable, settle in, but really the biggest thing, like Steve said, is just we're competing and we're holding each other accountable, and so just helping push the girls, push my teammates, and push myself as well.
Well, and I'll follow up with that. So you're junior now, you've had your freshman season, your sophomore season, and those first 2 years, you probably feel like you're coming in and you're gunning for somebody's job, right? You want to get out onto the field. Now you're junior, and with a new coaching staff, maybe everything's up for grabs. Maybe coaches are.
You got to compete.
Clean slate for everybody. Yeah. But now you're an upperclassman. You expect to be on the field. Not that you didn't as a freshman and a sophomore, but you expect to be out there on the field. But at the same time, there's teaching that needs to be done, even from the players to the younger players. Is that a big part of the fall camp, that, hey, here's this freshman coming in that may be trying to take my spot, but I need to lead her along and still be a friend and a teammate and reach out to them? Is that a big part of what's being preached right now?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Coach, I know they're not here with you, but great coaching staff with you on the sideline, and as you've gotten this year going. They're not here, but kind of introduce the rest of your staff and let us know how you came up with these assistants. How did you build this coaching staff to help on this journey?
No, I've been very, very fortunate throughout my career to meet a number of great people. Paul Kimbrough has come on board with me. Paul has a very, very unique soccer experience. One of the most licensed coaches in America, has served in various roles, from being with DC United all the way down to running two of the most successful clubs in Arkansas most recently. He actually served as a volunteer for me back at Texas A&M Texarkana years ago, and he's come in and stepped in seamlessly, really doing a tremendous job. We also have brought back two names that'll be familiar to Dixie State fans, in Julie Neild and Laura Evans, who are both standout players here. Don't want to call out their age, but probably about 15 years ago.
Part of some big teams, though.
Yeah, they were part of some great teams. They bring a perspective that is very valuable to me, because I think you need to understand what the story of where you are is, and they're interwoven into the DNA and the fabric of not only Dixie State but the community. So that's something I've really, really enjoyed getting to hear their stories and going on through. But I think the three of them, again, Paul, Julie, Laura, are doing a tremendous job. I think they're tremendous role models for our team, and it's a lot of fun. We're working seamlessly right now.
And talk about maybe not necessarily their individual roles, but I mean, how big of a help are they to you in terms of, you're here, you're learning a new area, and so so are they, and so to speak, in some regards. But you can't do it alone. You've got to be out there. And what are some of those different roles, and how are they helping you specifically?
That's one of the things, and one of the things I've said to the team, even, it's not just for yourself, is nobody gets through this life alone. You need to be able to lean on each other. And I joke a lot, I'm a real big man on syntax. And I think when you build your staffs, you have to find people that are people usually say balance you out, and balance is indicative of something being off. I look at it as something that can complement you. So Paul does a tremendous job in the behind the scenes in terms of, I'll say this right now jokingly because he'll get it. I've nicknamed him Spreadsheet Boy. He takes over all those data pieces for me, does a tremendous job organizationally like that. Very, very analytical mind. Laura and Julie, are lending the helping hand wherever they can, and I've really leaned on them as a resource again to help me understand the community, understand the story of Dixie State, and they've also had an opportunity to coach these young women, so I can kind of get some of that insight that, hey, they've seen them for a year, and what makes this one tick, we're a struggle point. So it's been an absolute godsend, for me to be able to have a staff put together this quickly and to be that efficient and that cohesive.
We'll remember that Spreadsheet Boy. We'll make sure that ends up in his bio. We'll make T-shirts. We're gonna make T-shirts for the. No, just kidding. But let's get back to some questions for the players. Kylie, it was said before, a senior, a midfielder. You mentioned earlier when I asked you that I had a reason for asking those random questions at the start. I was looking at your stat line from last year. You had 1 goal and 5 assists, and then stats are stats. They don't show everything that a player does. You're an incredible contributor to this team. But if I remember right, you said you'd rather score a goal than assist because it doesn't happen very often. But talk about your role as a midfielder, and maybe you individually as a player. And you got to work within the system. But how often do you try to maybe creep up and get in those goal scoring positions, or are you literally, as the position states, a midfielder? You just kind of back there trying to help out wherever you can do?
So in the past I've played like that number 6, so that's more of just like the holding mid. So I have been more just holding back in front of the line of our front of the defensive line. But when those opportunities do arise during the game, I try to take those and go up into the attack a little bit more, just because it throws off the other line of defense, just because they're like, where's this other player coming from? And I think it is good just to mix it up, because trying to defend teams that are like that their midfielders are just always weaving in and out, it's just hard to defend that. So as much as I can, try to get in there, but I think I am more of just like a playmaker, try to set other people up. I'm a little bit better at that than scoring. So
well, of course, I just referred to you as a midfielder. You're a defender. Yeah.
Well,
technically, right?
I came in as a defender, and now I've switched to
I just
moved up
realizing
into the midfield
that I don't know how to read my own notes here. So I was right. I knew that. See?
Yeah.
But so came in as a defender, kind of moving up toward the midfield now. Let's keep moving on down the line. Alexa, make sure I have your position right. Another midfielder, right?
So I'm a center back. So I'm on that back line in the center position. I did transition a year ago when Jerry was in. He asked me to step up and play that position. It was a new position for me, but I've actually loved learning that place and kind of developing myself as a player.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I have a specific question about defenders, and this is good that it's all coming up, because now Coach can send us we have an updated roster of the players, but hey, send us all the updated positions, will you, so we can get that on the website.
It's in flux, Keric. It's in flux.
We're on day
I've been around for 3 days here.
On that back line, what is that like, knowing that, hey, I've got a goalkeeper behind me that is incredible, that can do great things, but I've got to do my job, otherwise I'm going to leave her out on an island.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, a lot of the times they talk about, like actually Paul was just mentioning this to me today, because he's worked with us the past couple days on our back line. So just kind of on positioning, talking with each other, and again, you hear like communicate. I'm learning the importance of communicating and why I'm communicating. So it's like, even just like, I make one step backwards, I could throw off my whole outside backs, and then that throws off my keeper. So it's like, I need to know what I'm doing so that I can help everybody else on the field be in control and organized.
And I've always kind of wondered how that obviously it's speaking, that's how the communication takes place, but because the goalkeeper's kind of back there and they're getting you in the right coach, obviously, but how much communication really is there throughout the game with the back line and the goalkeeper? Is it constant?
It should be constant, I should say. It's not always constant, but it should be. And this week, it's like getting hammered at us, like, why aren't you telling that midfielder in front of you, why aren't you telling her what you're seeing? I'm like, shoot, I don't know. So it's like, as I'm learning that like I need to always be talking. I need to be tucking in my outside back. I need to be telling my midfielder who's next to her, who's in front of her, what I'm seeing, who's checking to. So it's like I need to be talking like throughout the whole game.
Absolutely. And if I'm going to go 3 for 3 here and be wrong on positions, probably. So Kelsey, you're probably a forward now, or we got you back between the posts now, Coach.
Keeper, yeah.
So,
Keeper, yeah, with the size.
There's nothing strikes fear
Nick
than a 5'1"
Romano's not very big. Look at Nick Romano. We bring up Rio Tinto, right? He's not very big. So we've got listed as a midfielder. Is that what we were playing still? Talk about your role with the team this year and how that's going and how you're helping kind of anchor that spot in the midfield. Last year, you did a little bit of everything. Last year, you had, if again my notes are right, 5 goals and 4 assists. So you're getting up a little bit. Is that kind of more your playing style? And
as a midfielder, last year at least I played more of an attacking role in the midfield, so kind of sitting right underneath those forwards and orchestrating that attack, being a playmaker. I'm the player that likes the ball at my feet, so just moving that ball quick, helping my team possess the ball, and then moving it up into the attack. And this year hoping to get more in the attack, more goals, get up there. Like Steve's already been after me, get up there in the attack, so hoping for more of that.
Absolutely, we got to put that ball in the back of the net to win, right? Just once, and then you can sit back and play. Is that your style, Coach? Or you put one in and sit back and defend type, or you just want to pour it on?
And we've been joking about this. Yesterday, I know that they all stared at me for a while. I'm like, I can tell you this definitively: I've never lost a game where I scored more goals than the other team. So
you're one of those. If I do a pregame interview with you and I say, "Hey, what's the keys to this game?" You're going to tell me to score more goals than the other team.
People try to make this so much more complex than it needs to be, and they heard this on day one. Keep it out of that goal. Put it in this one, we're okay. So.
Coach, how familiar are you with the RMAC? What does it take for success in this conference? I know you only get 1 year in this league, but we want it to be a big one.
It's tough because anytime you walk in and where's the level and the transitional piece, even for me in my own career and looking at it, you have some tremendous teams historically. You look at what Colorado School of Mines has done, Colorado Springs has done the last several years. Westminster has had a great run. Metro State historically in Division II is a powerhouse, and I can continue to go on. Regis has had a number of great years, so it's going to be highly competitive. I'm interested to see what the flavor looks like, so to speak. What's the style of play in the RMAC, but there's so many tremendous teams, and it's going to be highly competitive, and hopefully we can put ourselves in a position to be there at the end of the year. And like I said, our goals are hopefully playing well into November, but it's going to be a tough task to even get ourselves in that dance of 6 to begin with.
I'm going to single you seniors out here, and because it's your last year, but it's also there's a big transition coming up in the school. You heard us talking with Dr. Jason Boothe about it. School's going Division I, and some of us get caught up on all these things about next year, and then you seniors are going, hey, what about us? We have this year. What goals do you have personally to help this be the best year that Dixie State Athletics has ever seen to help springboard into that? We'll start with you, Kylie.
I've always just tried to be a leader among the team, and I think that's good. I've never been one that's super vocal out there, per se. I just try to lead by example a little bit more. That's more my style. So I'm just going to try to help, all the newcomers try to feel comfortable, because a lot of them have came up to me. They're like, well, I think I know what to say, and I have stuff to add, but I'm just scared to say it. And so I just want to, help them realize that they are important. They are a valuable asset to our team. So I think if we can get that mindset among the whole team, that everyone plays an important role, and then we're all just like we've said, be accountable for each other and for ourselves. And if we can all just raise the level and the standard even more than we have in the past, then it will be really good.
Alexa, what about you? You go to your senior year, and what about me? We have a lot of good things to do this year. I'm sure one of the goals is to win a conference championship this year. How are you looking at this in terms of cementing, the legacy of Dixie State Athletics and what they did at D2 level as a springboard into these big things that are to come? Yeah.
So obviously the big talk is that we're going D1, but I think what is kind of just what people are forgetting is that this is our last year at D2. Let's show them who we are. And I think it's exciting that we can share that with the freshmen, because this is their chance to make that post play. And so we're I feel like it's easier almost to rally the team together, be we all are going to contribute, and we all want to win. We want to put our foot in D2 and be look what we just did. We just won. And then we walk out and we enter D1. as champions. That's what we want, and that's what we want for our upcoming players. We want that for our juniors and our sophomores and our freshmen. We want them to like have that confidence going into D1. Like, oh yeah, we deserve to be here because look what we just did at D2. And we want that for ourselves because this is our last chance, period. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
We're excited to watch your team compete this year. We've run out of time here with the women's soccer team, but we want to thank Coach and all of you for taking time out of it. I know it's a busy schedule because you're trying to squeeze as much in as you can
about 10 minutes
in before you start school on Monday. So we appreciate you taking time, and everyone in the community, and to be honest, your parents are probably out there watching too. Everyone's excited to hear from you, and we appreciate you stopping by our fall preview today, and wish you all the best of luck. Couple of weeks, you got a scrimmage, and then you're heading up to Idaho State for an exhibition at Idaho State, and you'll be here before we know it. So we wish you the best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Keric, thanks so much for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We got to take a break. When we come back, the football team will join us right here on the Dixie State Fall Sports Preview. We're back after this.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun is gonna shine on me. Sun is gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
5 minutes. Dude, we've been here forever. They're about to close the store. Would you just pick something already?
I just want to look good, you know. It's season 2 of Trailblazer Weekly. I just want to make sure I get the right one.
Look at all this great stuff they have here at the Dixie State campus store. No matter what you choose, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm just going to go with the first one.
Catch the Season 2 premiere of Trailblazer Weekly on Wednesday, August 14th at 3 p.m. Presented by the Dixie State Campus Store.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back inside the CEC TV studios. The 2019 Fall Sports Preview moves along here. Football team, our second team up. We have head coach Paul Peterson joining us, as well as sophomore offensive lineman Nathan Aceves, senior receiver Casey Allison, senior defensive back. We got that right. We had you listed as a linebacker. We got you as a defensive back. Now I want to make sure we got that right. And then redshirt sophomore defensive lineman Anthony Yarbrough. Appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out with us today. And big season ahead of us here, and last season in the RMAC, last season in D2. A lot of big things that are going to happen. We're going to jump right into it. We'll start with you, Coach. Named head coach in December, first signing class in February, first spring practice in April. Now into fall camp. We're getting closer to game time. Describe these last 9 months and just how kind of crazy it's been, and how quickly it's moved along, and now we're finally on the field and getting at it.
Yeah, a lot of work. It's gone by super fast. I can't believe it's been that long. Just feels like it just got here, but I always feel a step behind. I'll lay down at night and I'll have this little pad of paper. I got to make sure we get that done or that done. And I want to give these guys the best chance to be successful, and it's all working towards this point right now. We've had a great fall camp so far, and making sure we finish well and have a great season, represent this school well.
7 practices in now. Just had practice 7 this morning before we came over here. Scrimmage tomorrow, so they're looking at that. What's been your first impressions over this first week of fall camp?
You know, I mentioned it the other day, but I felt like we made great strides during spring practice, those 14, 15 practices that we had, and I felt like these guys, they didn't miss a beat. We had a good summer. A lot of guys came back ready to go. Some didn't, but we're getting ourselves to that spot. So as we climbed, you know, I didn't want to have a dip and then have to climb back up. I don't think we did. I think we plateaued at the end of the spring practice, and then we jumped right back on, and we're going like this. Every practice is good. We got great intensity out there, good competition, some good additions to the team that help out the guys that have already been a part of this team and a part of the conference. And so I think these guys are rearing up, ready to go.
Absolutely. Of course, I could ask you all these questions, Coach. We want to hear the players' perspective as well. That's why we want to hear these players talk. But let's start with our seniors. Lots of new faces on this team. You decided to come back even after the coaching staff change, come back, play your senior year here at Dixie State. Just want to ask you, how's this team meshing with all the new players and the returners that are back through the first week? Let's start defensively, on the defensive side of the ball. Alex, how's this team meshing through the first week of fall camp? And of course, you've been together with some summer workouts and in the spring as well, but now in the fall camp, how's this with all the freshmen? How's everyone meshing together?
It's surprising to me because it's meshed well. We didn't get all the guys here until August 7th. And so with all the transfers, freshmen coming in, we had some guys at workouts. We had a lot of guys at workouts, but the whole team wasn't here. And especially defensively, we're just clicking together. Everything's going well, I feel like. And you can tell in practice we're making plays, flying around, energy's up there. And so I think it's meshed well, and it's really good.
Absolutely. I've been there. I've been to every practice. I didn't make it this morning. We were getting ready for our fall media day today. I'm sure you did. We have some stories we could tell on the sidelines this year, but we won't go there. But offensively, Casey, how's this team looking? You've got a lot of great guys at receivers specifically, but offensively, how's everyone meshing together?
Offensively, we've been gelling really good, actually. There's a lot of young cats that have been coming in and that have been working really hard and, getting into the playbook. And that's a big part of, the young cats playing this year. And it's been real good. We have a transfer also from a receiver that's new, but other than that, it's a lot of freshmen that's in, and we've been gelling really well.
Well, and then we can kind of look at it. Offense versus defense. You watch the 7-on-7s. You watch, after a while, you guys are ready to just kill each other by now, right? You've been going at each other all week, and hit somebody else. But I've been watching those battles, Casey, between the receivers and the defensive backs. Just tell us a little about those and how look, the receivers getting up making catches sometimes, defensive backs getting up there making some picks. I've seen Alex with a pick 6 during practice once.
I didn't see that.
Coach got on about the high step and about the 20-yard line.
That was day one. That was day one. Yeah.
Tell us about some of the battles between the receivers and the defensive backs and how those are going.
Yeah, it's a constant grind, getting out there competing with you guys each day. It gets hot out there, especially with some of the older cats when you're going with each other constantly. It always brings the best out of you, and that's the main goal of fall camp, is to go out there and compete at the highest level and get better each day.
Nate, let's talk about the offensive line. It's a sophomore, but you played in every game and started in 10 games last year, so you return as an anchor on that offensive line. How are things looking so far? Lots of new faces on the offensive line this year as well. As one of the leaders, how do you feel about the first week of fall camp and how everyone's gelling together on that offensive line?
We're actually gelling together pretty well. We have some returners from last year as well. So we have all the returners. We have really good chemistry, and then now bringing in all the freshmen, we're all coming together as one too. And then, we've been getting along really well. We're trying to teach the younger guys the way of the offense and just trying to get it going.
And what's been the mentality as you enter in? You know, you're not going to let anyone in the backfield. We're going to put everyone on their backs. I mean, just talk a little bit about the mentality. You're working with Coach Hughes over on the offensive line. He's like a pretty fiery guy when he needs to be, and seems to be whipping you guys into shape.
Oh yeah, like our mentality we've always had is just be a dog on the offensive line and just try to do our job to the best of our ability. You know, we're all going to make mistakes every now and then, but our job is to make sure that we don't make as many mistakes as we should. But but for sure our mentality is to be a dog this year.
We got cats and dogs, and we're rolling right now with these guys.
We're chatting with the football team here in the Dixie State Fall Sports Preview. Let's pass one of those mics over to Anthony Yarbrough. We only had 4 mics, so we'll share it over here between you two. But Anthony, you had 7.5 sacks last year, 13.5 tackles for loss. I mean, you basically set up a tent and made camp in the backfield of the opposing teams last year. And, you know, RMAC Defensive Freshman of the Year. I mean, that's all well and great, but how's this offseason been? What are some of your goals you have to be even better this year?
Well, first off, I just want to start by saying we putting last year in the past and we focusing on this year. And I'm sorry, can you repeat it? Just like some of my personal goals?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't really personally have any goals except for, you know, just go out and just play as best as I can to help my team win, you know. That's really my goal pretty much every game. I don't really have any personal agendas. I just want to go out there, do what my coaches tell me, trust my training, and just be a baller.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the other guys on the defensive line. You know, last year you were lining up along seniors. You had Sebastian G. Martini out there, you had Remington Kelly out there, the Dixie State legend in Remington, had been there forever, you know. But some newer faces on that defensive line this year. You got Dylan Hendrickson, it's the local hometown hero over there. But let's talk about some of those other guys and talk about how this defensive line is looking through the first week of fall camp.
Well, first off, we're all, the first thing that Coach Loney taught us is to basically, like I said, trust our training and build a brotherhood, because we're going into battle together. So like we got to have this mindset that you trust your job and then you trust your your brother to do his job. So I think we're gonna be pretty good this year. We're gonna be, you know, we leave our talking on the field, so we're gonna leave it at that.
That's good. Actions speak louder than words, right? Coach, it's been a little while since you put your full staff together. They've been in place for a while, but let's talk about your coaching staff. What was the process there? What was kind of your mindset when you were going out picking each of these guys that you wanted on your coaching staff? I know, I've heard it said that you wanted guys that have either played or coached at the highest levels, and we've got a lot of NFL experience on this coaching staff.
You know, I think the staff does a really good job relating to the student athletes and really preparing them. They've played at the high level, so they've received high-level coaching. They're great motivators. They're good family people. We treat each other like, that we tell the kids that they're our kids. They are. We have high expectations for our kids, and we're their biggest fans. So we're going to make the corrections that we need to with them, and like I said before, try and put them in situations to be successful. And I feel like I got a great staff that's able to do that and lead from the front. And these guys, once these guys catch up, which they're getting there, then we're just kind of back off and let them run the show.
Absolutely. Let's pass that mic back over to Alex there. I know there's, and this is going to come up with every team, it's just the elephant in the room this year, and that's kind of when everyone looks at Dixie State right now because of that transition of going to that announcement, Dixie's going D1, it's going to come up a lot. And I know it already has. I know even in some of your team meetings, I heard a story about the other day about a team meeting that, there was the university president was in showing all the great things about next year, facilities and this, we're going to do that. And Alex, not to single you out, but I heard that, you kind of raised your hand and you said, hey, what about us seniors? We've got this season to play still. What are we doing for us this year? Talk about what that means to, first of all, to be part of, your seniors. So your 4 years here, you've really built a legacy. You've been, when you came in as a freshman, you were part of that first team that had a winning season, and then up to last season, you've helped turn Dixie State football around. So when you think of your last year as a senior and what you want it to be, and what about this year? I know your goals are going to go out and to have a big year this year, right?
Absolutely. So, and not only me, Sage, Dewan, Blake came in with me. There's other guys that I'm forgetting right now, so sorry guys. But it's not even about my personal goals. Just this year, I want to win. Like I told Coach P, I think yesterday, I could care less if I have 0 tackles. I want to win games. That's all I care about is winning. And so that's I just don't want guys to think ahead because the D1 stuff is great, and it's going to be a great program in the future, next year, 5 years from now, and it's something I can be proud to come back to and, like, yeah, I left my mark here. But I just don't want, like, even the young guys, like, hey, we got to win this year. Like, Pueblo, Mines, those teams are nothing to look over. Like, the goal is an RMAC championship, then a national championship, and so that's what I want the focus to be.
Well, and with that transition, it probably only makes that target just a little bit bigger as other teams get ready for you. So
teams are gunning for us, and it's okay. We can handle it.
Yeah, absolutely. Casey, we talked about a little bit earlier, talented group of receivers, really talented group of receivers this year. However, none of the quarterbacks that are active right now, you got Trent dinged up from spring ball still. None of the quarterbacks you have active throwing and fall right now actually took a single snap for this team last year. So how are things progressing with the quarterbacks? You had the spring to work out. I'm sure you were throwing and catching all summer long. How's the timing? How's the chemistry with those quarterbacks that you have out thrown to you right now?
With the QB situation, it's definitely progressing. You know, they're out there competing. We have a lot of guys, different guys out there that's competing for that top spot. Cody played well in the spring, and he's been doing his part as well. And you know, Keaton, we brought in Keaton from Northern Colorado. He's been doing good as well. And we have some younger cats too, some freshmen that have been out there throwing good balls, deep balls. It's just really about consistency and getting the right reads, I would say. Getting the right reads and just making sure they're consistent out there every day and on the receiver's part as well.
And Coach told us the other day on our Trailblazer Weekly show that he was ready to launch. So no matter what, he's going to throw the ball a lot. So I said, hey, the 2019 Dixie State football team ready to launch. So here we go. I'll be ready to catch some touchdown passes out there. Nate, back to the offensive line with you. I know in today's day and age of college football and the system they run here, there's not a lot of under center. So there's not, so maybe that the snap and the different way the quarterbacks like it, maybe it doesn't affect you as much when you're snapping the ball. But how is it getting used to new quarterbacks? You had one group of quarterbacks last year, and now you still got I'm sure each quarterback has their own set of little quirks, and each way they want the ball coming in. So how is it the quarterback situation affected you and the offensive line so far?
I mean, it really hasn't been any different kind of. I mean, right off the bat, I like to be really close with the quarterbacks, just so we have a real good chemistry, real good bond with each other. And I ask them is it coming too fast? Does it need to be faster? And how I like to make sure the balls are right in their chest, just so it'd be a lot easier. But other than that, it hasn't been too hard to get used to the new quarterbacks.
Well, and if there's everybody needs to know what's going on every play, but if there's the quarterback and then the offensive line absolutely has to know where everything's going. So it's good to be on that same page with your quarterbacks there.
We like all 11 knowing what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. But if you have a quarterback or an offensive lineman that doesn't know what they're doing, then you're in trouble. Yeah. So that's a good point. Captain Obvious moment there for me. That's why I'm doing what I do and I'm not doing what you do. So, Anthony, back to the defensive line. You mentioned Big Loney once already, but what's it been like learning and being coached by Big Loney Fangupo over there at defensive line? A guy, one of those guys you mentioned, he's got NFL experience, he's got the calves to show it, and I was just talking to somebody on the sideline yesterday. I said, hey man, those are NFL calves right there. But what's it been like? He's one of the most vocal, outgoing, fun guys on that coaching staff. What's it been like learning under Big Loney?
Man, it's been a real great experience, and I'm really thankful to have not just Coach Loney but the entire coaching staff. But he's taught me so much in just the little time that I've been around. It's kind of like it's kind of like a father, but basically he's just been teaching me so much, and it's just been great. I've just been enjoying every second of it.
And you and I were talking yesterday, and you said, man, he's been in the league. He played defensive line in the league, so you got to listen to what he says. How much respect does that command out of a coach when you look and you say, this guy not only is a genuine nice guy and a great coach, but that he's been at the highest level of football. So how much easier does that make it to want to listen to what your coach says?
I mean, either way, whether your coach played in the league or not, he's your coach for a reason. So but I mean, to really answer your question, I mean, he provides that perspective from the player and the coach side, which it's a lot. It means a lot. So yeah.
Absolutely. Our time winding down here. Just got a couple minutes left. Coach, how are these guys doing? They're doing good, right?
They're awesome, yeah. We got a good group of kids.
Talk about, we got the whole team's great, but talk about this, this group of four great returners, and there's reason that they're selected to come represent the team here.
Absolutely.
Just talk about these guys here and what they mean to the team.
Yeah, I think we're going to be as good as these guys right here. Our team's going to follow their lead, and I think with their experience that they have, that's, well, like we said before, a lot of guys don't have that experience right now playing, and these guys are showing the way. They've put in the hard work, and when that hard work comes, there's going to be results for all of them. And their leadership needs to continue to grow and progress. And when you set a standard really high for yourself, the next point is when you reach that is you got to bring the guys that are below you up. And I think that's kind of the mentality that we have as a team to make sure all of us are in the top 90%. Not we don't have a bottom 10%. We're building everybody up, and these four guys exemplify that in everything that we're trying to do.
Of course, in the last minute and a half that we have here, short fall camp. School starts Monday. Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit the other day, right. But so in terms of, Pueblo till September 7th, school starts. So what's the plan? Obviously, these guys got to get to class starting Monday, right. And then you still have your same practice time, but then they got to get to class. And are you still treating this next week kind of as a fall camp type situation in terms of what you're working on before the install for Pueblo comes in?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. We're going to continue. So next week we'll have fall camp. It starts our care hours. We talked about that, and so we're going to have the same type of camp mentality, I guess, and install and packed and meeting time. It's just going to be condensed because we got to fit it in that 20 hours. But and it'll help these guys too. We've been grinding them a lot. We're starting to feel those effects. But we've raised the level of competition and our conditioning as well. And so that's not a bad thing. And we'll just keep growing. So that next week we'll have a camp feel, and then we'll start getting into game week that next week.
Absolutely. And that first game is CSU Pueblo on September 7th. All right, in Trailblazer Stadium. It'll be a 7 o'clock kickoff, and you'll be able to watch that game right here in these very same channels that we are streaming and televising and airing on the radio this very event today. So we're looking forward to that, and going to be a great game that night. Everyone looking forward to it. So if you're out there, if you're watching, we need you in Trailblazer Stadium on September 7th. In the last 10 seconds that we have, guys, it's National Tell a Joke Day. Did you know that? Anyone have any good ones?
Say the fish joke. Mine's inappropriate. No, it's not. No, it's funny. I guess it's funny. They laughed.
Go ahead.
Okay. What did the fish say when he bonked his head? Damn.
You ran into the dam. That's a good one.
It's not funny the second time.
You told that to the kid reporter at the RMAC thing, and she kind of looked at you and went, what? What's going on? But Alex told me a good one, too, at the RMAC kickoff. It's Freshman Friday, so I'll tell it. It's Freshman Friday, so it's applicable. All the new students coming in. What did the Buffalo say to his son when they sent him off to college?
That's pretty good.
Bye, son.
There you go.
Hey, we're Trailblazers, right? We're Trailblazers. National Tell a Joke Day. It's also Dixie State Athletics fall sports preview. Coach Peterson and all these guys, thanks so much for coming and hanging out with us today. We wish you the best through the rest of fall camp, through practice, and let's go have a good one against Pueblo on September 7th. We got to take a break. When we come back, the cross-country team, the men's women's cross-country team, will join us as we discuss their upcoming season. One more 3-minute timeout, and right back with more on CEC TV.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, the boss's boss. If 1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes, that means it could be you, your barber, your barber's barber.
Nice work. Thanks.
You, your plumber.
Breathe right into your foot.
Your plumber's masseuse.
Yes.
You, your dog walker.
On your left.
Your cat jogger. Or you, your co-pilot. Your co-pilot's co-pilot. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org to know where you stand.
Well, hey, Keric, how's it going?
Oh, hey, Jason, how's your summer been, man?
Oh, it was fantastic. I did so many cool things. I made friends with a squirrel. Yeah, it was really cool. I went to Mexico and got stranded. Last time I took advice from a fortune cookie. Then I took a painting, I realized I didn't have any rollers. But what about you, man? You look like a mess. You look like you haven't left the studio all summer.
That's because I haven't. I've been sitting here since May, since our last show, trying to come up with good promo ideas.
Promo for what?
The show, Trailblazer Weekly. We're back. Didn't you hear? Season 2, August 14th, 3 p.m. on CEC TV, Radio Dixie 91.3 FM, and the Dixie State Athletics YouTube page.
Well, why didn't you just say exactly that?
You know what? You're right. You're right. Whole summer gone. I gotta go. I gotta start my summer bucket list.
Hey, why don't you go find a squirrel?
Trailblazer Weekly, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on CEC TV, Radio Dixie 91.3 FM, and Dixie State Athletics YouTube page.
For over a century, Dixie State University has been shaping the trailblazers of tomorrow by providing a culture of active learning, active life. With a paradigm of real-world experience mixed with cutting-edge technologies and rich traditions, we provide one of the most affordable educations in the West, set against the most stunning backdrop on the planet.
Radio Dixie 91.3. We don't play that. Nope, not that. A big fat no there. That's what we play. And stuff like that. On St. George's only alternative, Radio Dixie 91.3. Oh, and from 9 till midnight, we play this. I need a one dance. And this. Radio Dixie 91.3 FM.
Welcome back inside the Dixie State Fall Sports Preview for the 2019-2020 season. The first official competition just a few weeks away for a lot of our teams, and we march on with our third team of the day. Two teams, really, we combine into one, our men's and women's cross-country teams. Coach Decker and his crew, thanks so much for being here. Today we have head coach Justin Decker, we have junior Tyson McKeon, junior Tyler Fessler, sophomore Gabby Royal, and sophomore Heather Lacey joining us on the Fall Sports Preview today. How's everyone doing? We having fun? We enjoying the first few days of fall practice and getting out there? And of course, you can do year round. You can get out and go run anytime, right? Even in the off season, so to speak. There's no off season for runners, but let's start with some fun. You know, you call it an icebreaker, you call it whatever you want, but let's just have some fun right off the bat. I'm going to ask each of you, and let's be original here. We don't want to copy each other. We'll start Tyler with you. What's your favorite place to run? Do you have a favorite run, whether it's here or hometown or wherever it may be? Favorite place to run?
Personally, my favorite place to run is out in Ivins. I live out there, and right up next to Red Mountain, there's a nice little, I believe it's called the Toe Trail, and then I run up into Snow Canyon. It's really pretty, so you get some time, go out there and run. If
you're going to go out and just go for a run on your own, you're maybe, it's summertime, you're not getting ready for a race, how many miles are you going to go out on an average run?
I like between 7 and 8 miles. That's about my average that I like to do in the summer, and then at night do something a little bit less, like 3 to 4. So
more? Those two runs on the same day? Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Making me tired just listening. Tyson, how about you? What's your favorite run?
I don't know. There's a lot of good places to run here. I mostly focus on the Riverside Trail, but if I'm talking about out of state, I go to Alaska every once in a while, and I love running up there. Perfect weather.
Okay, up in Alaska. High. I'm assuming that's high elevation.
No.
Up there. No,
it's
low.
sea level.
I don't know my geography. I need to go back to school. But Heather, how about you? Favorite place to run? Is it here? Is it back in California, hometown? Where?
Yeah, probably my favorite place to run is on the beach. It's like my favorite place. Just sea level, it's really nice. Can just cruise. So.
I do know that the beach is not high elevation. So I do know that one. Gabby, how about you? Favorite run?
It's probably my hometown in Stansbury. We have like a ninja trail that we call it, and it like banks it down to this river, and it's kind of like sideways, and so there's a lot of people that fall into it. And then there's a rope swing at the end of it. So.
Okay.
If you want to jump in,
so they get into it on purpose. It's not too treacherous. If they fall into it, it's okay.
Too bad, no.
Okay, good. I've heard. I used to work at a bank. My boss was a big runner. She was a marathon runner. I've heard that running in the rain is really enjoyable. Can we confirm or deny, Tyler?
I'm going to go with no. Last year we ran in the freezing rain and in Denver, and so I'm going to go with no. But down here in St. George, where it's warm, it's really not that bad.
Yeah. Tyson?
I think it kind of depends on the weather, one, and then also, not weather, but like You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's freezing rain, obviously.
Not
it's
that. But also
but
like
summer.
If it's like a drizzle or if it's a downpour, I prefer like a drizzle. But if it's pouring, then no, it's not that great.
I talked to Hunter Chamberlain a couple years ago, right? Getting his shoes stuck in the mud down in Hawaii from all the rain that he had. Heather, I saw you nodding over there.
I actually love it because, I mean, California where I'm from doesn't rain a lot. So whenever I get the rain, I'm like, bring it on. So I like it. That
was like me as a kid here in St. George. Every time it rained, you had to run outside and play with it, jump in the puddles. Gabby, are you a rain runner? You like to run?
I agree as well.
Okay.
It's just fun, a little cool off time, you know?
I'd heard that, and so I thought, hey, this is a great opportunity for me to learn from some big time runners here that can get me into that mindset, because when it rains, I don't want to be wet, so when it rains I want to be out of the rain. But that's good. Thanks for playing along there for a minute and helping us get to know you a little bit as we jump now into the nitty gritty. Coach, another new year. You've officially been going for 3 days now. Kind of give us the rundown on this year's teams. Every year you're bringing in a lot of new freshmen. We've got some familiar faces here, but give us the rundown on the men's and the women's cross country teams this year.
Yeah, so this morning was only our third day of practice, so don't know too much yet how good we're going to be, but definitely excited about the roster we have assembled. We have really big teams for both men and women, and really deep. A good mix of returners. Each of these four here are returners, and several very strong freshmen, transfers too. So good mix, experience and youth, and we're really excited about the team we have and to get started.
Day 3. Like I mentioned, that you go running every day, whether it's an official practice or not, right? You're going to get out and get a run in. Let's go over to Tyson. Your third year at Dixie now. Of course, we've got two juniors here, but third year here at Dixie. What have you learned through your first 2 seasons that have helped you improve maybe over the summer this year and then leading into this junior season?
Definitely probably dedication and just making time to practice and stuff. So I think definitely with each time I've gotten more of a desire to just go out there and do as much as I can, and I'm excited for this year to do that same thing.
And now, and we talk about improvements as a runner, a cross-country runner, or what have you. You know, in a sport where, like football, we said the football team in here, a receiver needs to get better at catching the ball. So he goes out and he catches the ball. Basketball, you got to practice your free throws. Running, what different types of things are you doing to try to improve your times as a cross-country runner? Is it just volume and longer runs, or pushing yourself, or what does it take to improve your times as a cross-country runner?
I think definitely focusing on longer runs is something I do. Something else is just speed workouts and just focusing on little things like form or like how you're breathing, stuff like that, stretching.
Absolutely. Let's go over to Heather. You're back, as I understand it, after a couple of seasons away from Dixie State cross country. What's it like to be back here at Dixie State and get back in with some of these familiar faces and teammates and get back out on the trails?
I'm super excited. So I was away for a little bit, but I'm super excited to kind of get back into it, to get more in shape and just start running. It's fun seeing all the familiar faces, but also the new faces, and get to know the team and everything. So.
Absolutely. Tyler, it's your junior season as well. You got these freshmen coming in that, running is running. They think they know what they're doing, right? They come in here. What wisdom have you been able to impart and share as, you got 2 years of collegiate cross country under your belt that I'm sure, like I said, running is running, but it's a little different. You're competing against higher levels at the collegiate level. So what have you been able to do now to show some of these younger guys the ropes and say, hey, when you get out here for your first collegiate race, it's going to be a lot different than it was in high school?
Yeah, definitely. I just think back to when I joined the team. I had a couple guys that really helped me. Hunter Chamberlain 2 years ago, Kyle Warwick last year. The biggest thing that I learned from them was just doing the small things, making sure you're getting to bed. We're not staying out till 1 in the morning and then turning around at 6 in the morning with coach and trying to have like a good workout, making sure we're eating correctly, taking our ice baths, stretching, working hard in the weight rooms. Those kind of things. As long as you're doing the little things, racing will come. We're all experienced. We've all ran 2 or 3 years in high school, and then obviously a couple years in college, so we know how to run. It's doing the little things that puts you over the top for a collegiate runner, as a collegiate runner.
Gabby, another question for you. Talk about the mental aspect of running a cross country race. Obviously, you're out there, you're competing physically against your opponents, but there's a mental battle up here, right?
I think 90% of it is mental.
Yeah, you know, your legs hurt, but yeah, that brain's telling you that your legs hurt or that you're tired or whatever. So how do you balance that physical battle with the opponents and those who you're physically trying to be faster than, and then that mental battle that is telling you, oh, I need to quit, I'm too tired, you know?
Definitely, it's a lot of it, I think, comes from your teammates of just pushing each other and letting you know that everyone's going through the same pain. It's just who can tough it out the longest. And so a lot of positive self-talk during the races. I know that bad days can cause a struggle when running sometimes, but you just got to push it aside. Maybe have that fuel you to keep going, but it's a big mental game to push it that one more mile or to pace yourself even more. So it can be a struggle, but you can accomplish it with your mind.
Absolutely, and I've always heard runners talk about that, you know, you get out and you hit that second wind and you hit that high and it's so amazing, and I've never got to that point. So I haven't run more than a mile or two. So that's something that I will never experience, and I'm okay with that. But Coach, let's talk schedule. Right now, all the races that we have listed online that we have booked are races hosted by Division I schools. Doesn't mean that, of course, you know, Dixie State will be Division I next year too, but doesn't necessarily mean that all the competition is Division I. But of the competition that is, does that help prepare your players and your runners for what they're going to see maybe at the RMAC championships?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the RMAC is easily the #1 conference in the nation in Division II for cross country. So the top schools in the RMAC are just as good as most Division I schools. So, you know, when we go and race in these early season meets against a lot of Division I schools, you know, it is pretty similar competition to what we will be facing in the conference and regional championship. The one we're going to Sacramento, so it shows Sacramento State. Yeah. Division I is the host for that, but that is actually the course for the Division II National Championship this year. So that will have a lot of D2 teams from all across the country coming to that. It's kind of the pre-national meet, so that'll be a good one to see where we stand against a lot of the top D2 competition in the country.
So you got 3 races, if I'm looking at this right, you got 3 races before the RMAC championships. You start in Provo at BYU, Sacramento State in between, and then the annual SUU Color Country Invitational. Excuse me. Do these races in Provo and Cedar help prepare your runners for the elevation of running in the RMAC championships? RMAC championships are in Grand Junction this year, right? Is elevation really a big deal, or do I make a bigger deal out of it than it is? And if so, did these races in Provo and Cedar kind of help get used to that?
Yeah, you know, elevation can be a really big deal depending on kind of how high you're going. I can't remember exactly Grand Junction's elevation. I need to check on that, but I think it is lower than, say, Denver, where we were last year. Maybe lower than Provo, Cedar City, but yeah, that is going in and running up there does help to get us used to that and prepare for those races later on.
We're chatting with the Dixie State men's and women's cross country teams here in the 2019 Dixie State Fall Preview. Tyson, back to you. Let's talk about the mentality of a runner. So think about when you're getting ready for a race. You know, you've got what's the typical length for a men's race? Say 6K, 5K, 6K?
It's like 6K, maybe 8K.
6K, 8K, which is, do some math for me. How many miles, Coach?
5 miles for 8 kilometers. 5 miles
for, you know, so it's a championship meet for an 8 kilometer race. So you've got a 5 mile race coming up. I'm showing you how bad I am at math. I should have had that in my notes. So you've got this 5 mile race coming up. Do you break that race into parts? Obviously it's cross country, so that, you know, you're running probably a loop, but it's a bigger loop than if you were on a track. Do you break that into parts? How much strategy is there in it? You know, do you want to start a certain way and then finish and then your middle? Talk about your strategy when you go into a race.
When I'm going into a race, I don't know, that's a hard question. I mean, I like to maybe start out a little fast and then maybe in the middle slow down just a little bit and then finish strong. Mm-hmm. That's what I at least try to do in most of my races.
And Coach, maybe you can lend a hand here. I mean, how much communication is there beforehand, maybe with your runners and leading up to a certain race? Hey, don't spend all your energy at the start, save some for the end. Is that something that's communicated throughout the week leading up to a race, or as you're kind of helping your runners learn to pace themselves and do what they need to do to achieve their personal best and the best times that they can?
Yeah, I'm definitely one that pushes them to try to be conservative in the beginning of the race, so that I like to say, become the predator throughout the race instead of the prey. You know, you're chasing people the whole race and hunting them down instead of the one that the others are chasing down and passing. Because like as Gabby was saying earlier, it's so mental. So if you're in a race and running strong, and so much easier to be passing people as you're going along than when you're getting past, and that just kind of deflates you mentally. So that's kind of, and then not that they start off at a jog pace by any means or anything like that, but lots of times runners will just start off like so fast and then slow down, but we just want to stay pretty consistent throughout the race. So if you are consistent, you'll probably start towards the back at the beginning and then be able to pass people as the race goes along.
Make your move there at the end. Heather, back to you. You're the lone Lacey on the team this year. I know this is going back a few years, but a couple years ago you had the opportunity to compete alongside your sisters. You had two sisters here on the team. 2016, I think it was. I know, like I said, I know that's a few years back, but what was that like to not only be able to experience, the freshman year of college and have teammates, but to have a couple of them be your sisters? I just imagine that had to have been special.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was really fun because my sister, she had already run on the team 2 years, and then she left for a couple years and came back, and that was the season that she came back and I was with her, and so she was really able to kind of help me and my other sister to, get the ropes of college and running, and it was just fun being able to push each other just because we've been running together since we were little, so it just was nice to have to be familiar with different teammates and things like that, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyler, it's your junior, whoops, that was the question I already asked you, so I gotta get my right part of my notes. I gotta learn how to read here. Otherwise, I can't remember what I'm gonna ask, so I have to write everything down. Actually, we're going to go to Gabby first. Sorry about that, Tyler. Gabby, is there a race that you're most looking forward to this year? I mentioned we got BYU, we've got up in Provost, and then you got Sacramento in California, and then Cedar. And then along with that, I have you listed on the roster. We have you listed as from Tooele, Utah, so northern Utah. So, does the BYU race maybe give friends, family an opportunity to come watch you run again, maybe like in high school? Oh, yeah, and with that, does running in front of maybe friends and family give you a little extra boost when you know that you've got them there?
Yeah, definitely. I remember the beginning of the season and my family looking at we're up at Provo, we can come watch you. And at first I was like, no, don't do that. Wait, okay, come. Because I know it'll push me harder and gets me excited to, especially when I run past them, to go faster. But if my favorite race probably for the season is going to be the Cedar City race, just because I ran it the first time back in 2016, and going back to a familiar course, trying to beat that last PR or that course time that you had, it's always a great battle to go to. So,
absolutely. Now we get to the question I was going to ask Tyler that leads right into that. How big is familiarity with the courses? How much does that play into maybe preparation as you get ready for a race during a week? And say the SUU race, you go run it every year, you know what to expect. Is it a big deal, or is it something that maybe someone from the outside looking in that obviously when you probably go down a night early, do you usually get to see a course if you're unfamiliar with it? Or how big of a role does that, being familiar with the course, actually play?
It's a really big deal. I like to go through the night before. I close my eyes. I run the race in my head. My perfect race is what I call it before. Where are the turns, where are the hills, where my teammates will be. Tyson starts off a little bit faster, so I know I'm going to be trying to catch him throughout the race. And just different things like that. And you picture those things, and it really does make a big difference. And I think that's what's going to take you a little bit above versus somebody that's like, I'm going to go out and run my hardest no matter what. It's cross country is a really big mental thing, and it's okay. Let's go up this hill. Here we go down this hill. I know where I'm at. And I know where the times are. I know where coach is at. So it's a really big deal.
Absolutely. Well, we're about out of time. We've got 10 seconds left. It is National Tell a Joke Day, though. Anyone have any good ones? we won't put anybody on the spot. So if we don't have any good ones, then we'll just know that you got to think of a joke and you got to tell somebody a joke before the end of the day. National Tell a Joke Day. It's our Dixie State men's and women's cross country teams right here in the Dixie State Fall Sports Preview. Appreciate Coach Decker and all of them, and wish you the best of luck this season. Like I said, a couple of weeks, less than a month now before we go up to Provo and run the BYU Autumn Classic. So good luck up there, and we'll be keeping a close eye on the progress of the team this year. We got to take a break. When we come back, the men's soccer team will join us right here on the Dixie State Fall Sports Preview.
Radio Dixie 91.3. We don't play that. Nope, not that. A big fat no there. That's what we play. And stuff like that. On St. George's only alternative, Radio Dixie 91.3. Oh, and from 9 till midnight, we play this. I need a one dance. And this. Radio Dixie 91.3 FM.
For over a century, Dixie State University has been shaping the trailblazers of tomorrow by providing a culture of active learning, active life. With a paradigm of real-world experience mixed with cutting-edge technologies and rich traditions, we provide one of the most affordable educations in the West, set against the most stunning backdrop on the planet.
Dude, we've been here forever. They're about to close the store. Would you just pick something already?
I just want to look good, you know. It's season 2 of Trailblazer Weekly. I just want to make sure I get the right ones.
Look at all this great stuff they have here at the Dixie State campus store. No matter what you choose, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm just going to go with the first one.
Catch the Season 2 premiere of Trailblazer Weekly on Wednesday, August 14th at 3 p.m. Presented by the Dixie State Campus Store.
Where do you find the titans of classical music in St. George? Classical music on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM. Where do you find the legends of jazz? Evenings on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look! Welcome back to Dixie State Fall Sports Preview for the 2019-20 season. We march along. We welcome in the men's soccer team as they get set for their season. A few practices under the belt for the men's soccer team. They've been able to get on the pitch this season. We're going to discuss that and many more things as we move along in our event today. Thank you guys for being here. I know it's we say it with every team. It's a short camp this year because you got school starting on Monday, and so you're jamming a lot of stuff into just very few days. And I appreciate you taking the time to, I don't know if I'm taking away from lunchtime or whatever it may be, but we appreciate you taking the time and being with us today. We'll introduce everybody. We've got head coach Johnny Broadhead. You're sitting alphabetically. I don't have it listed this way. We've got senior goalkeeper Zach Nielsen, senior forward Moises Medina, redshirt sophomore defender Idris Alabi, and sophomore defender Matt Lockwood. Appreciate you guys being here today. Coach, let's jump right into it. Actually, first thing we're going to do is, before we jump into the nitty-gritty, we're going to have some fun with this here. I want to know, favorite hobby outside of soccer? And Coach, we can start with you, too. We're going to do a little icebreaker. We're going to just get going here. Favorite hobby? I know as a coach, you probably don't do anything outside of soccer, maybe, but Favorite hobby outside of soccer? I hear you're really good on the golf course.
I'm not very good.
No?
Golf is a hobby. Yeah.
Well, I saw you the other day you did better than our team did at the all staff. Favorite hobby outside of soccer, guys?
I guess my favorite would be playing piano.
Playing piano. Very nice.
Mine would probably be just swimming. Love swimming, getting that tan on, you know.
There you go. Yeah. Good deal.
That would probably be pickleball.
Pickleball. This is great here. This is a good assortment of hobbies. Zach?
I would probably have to say I've recently picked up golf myself. And so I've been getting into that, and then, just picking that up, so.
All right, we'll start with you. We'll go back down the line. Who is the team FIFA champ?
Oh, look at this guy. I don't know. It's a close call. There's a couple good players. We really haven't put the new players to the test this year yet. From the last spring, though, I think Moy was up there. There's a couple other players that did pretty well as well. Probably Moy, Christian before he left. And then, I get a game in every once in a while. So
we're asking all the important stuff first. This is the stuff everybody wants to know. So the other returners, do we agree with his assessment of the FIFA champ, or is there we need to add some addendums to that?
I mean, he beat me last time, so I'll take the L this time. It's fine.
Good. All right, let's jump into the nitty gritty now, Coach. We've got year 3 for you officially underway, with a few practice underway. What, day 3?
Yeah.
Now that you've got, what are you seeing out there? Give us the rundown on how these guys have done out on the pitch the last 3 days.
Definitely working hard. They're ready to go. Last season didn't go the way we wanted. So anybody returning is carrying a pretty good attitude about how to approach that. And we have a lot of newcomers, and so for them to see a team get out of a season like that and respond, I think is good for them, and I think it's important that we grow from that in the next few days of preseason. So I expect them to keep working hard. We got a couple exhibition games to prepare us before we go to Texas, but so far, everything's going as planned, and we're having fun and growing as a team.
Let's go over to Moises. Senior season for you. Hard to believe that. It kind of comes full circle for me, because that was one of my first years. When you came in, it was one of my first years full time here, and so that kind of makes me think, wow, I've actually seen a few players through senior, freshman to senior now. But senior year, this is year 4 for you. Your name's all over the record book already, and it's just your name's just gonna keep bumping up those that you're not already top. Talk about how much you're looking forward to this year and how special this senior season is going to be for you, knowing just all the work that you put in over these last 3-4 years.
Well, it's definitely mixed emotions coming in to the senior year, but like Coach said, we have a lot of newcomers coming in, and they're all hungry. We've been practicing really hard, and now that some of these players got somewhat adapted to the RMAC, I feel like we're going to come in stronger, and we have that idea coming into this season.
And as a player, I'm glad you mentioned that adapting to the RMAC. What specifically, as a player's perspective, what was different? If you could pinpoint a couple of things between the Pac West and then the first year in the RMAC.
In my opinion, I think the RMAC was more physically stronger, bigger, taller. So it was different style of play, because they would do long balls, and in the Pac West it was more like quick touches, moving fast, stuff like that.
Okay, and that's good stuff. I love hearing that perspective from players and coaches. Matt, let's go over to you. First of all, welcome to Dixie State. We're excited to have you here. You played your freshman season at Cal State Dominguez Hills, and you're from Utah originally, though, right? So welcome back to the great state of Utah. What kind of helped it come full circle? What made you want to come back to Dixie State and be a part of Coach Broadhead's program here?
I mean, just, life happens and things don't always work out the way that you think they are, and Johnny gave me a great opportunity to come here, and, I've known the guys, obviously, like I've known about Zach and Moy, and just having that opportunity to play with them is something that kind of attracted me to it. And then coming in the spring, I got to really adapt to the team and see what the role I will play would be. And I love it. Like, honestly, it's been great. Really good decision on my part. And I'm just excited, man. I think I've molded well, and the guys have been great to me. And for that, I'm just thankful.
We're excited too. Excited to have you here. Now, I was reading a few bios and whatnot from a couple other schools. Matt, did you play for Coach Broadhead on a club team once upon a time, or is that, am I reading that correctly? Do you have that background too?
Yeah.
So you've played for him before.
Yeah,
you knew what you were getting into, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's one of the benefits I saw kind of coming to coach at Dixie is I coached a lot of kids, and I coached against a lot of these guys on the team growing up. So there's a lot of familiarity, and so Matt's included in that.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited to have you here, Matt. Let's keep moving on down. Idris, 3 goals and a pair of assists for you last year as a redshirt freshman, and that as a defender, even just kind of working your way up. What has pushed you and motivated you to work even harder and be even better this year as a sophomore?
Well, I mean, I just really want to work and be the best for the team, whatever position that may be, either playing as an outside back like I did last season or playing as a wing this semester, or a little mixture of both. So I really just want to do my best for the team and try to bring the new guys in as much as I can. So, yeah.
Absolutely. You feel like, so you're going in, so you redshirted first year, played last year, so this is your 3rd year here at Dixie State. You feel like you've got some wisdom to impart to these younger kids that make that transition from high school to college soccer? What's maybe one of the biggest things that, if I was a freshman and I was getting ready for my first college game, what's one of the biggest things that you've learned that you could share with me to be ready for that change of pace?
Put the work in. I mean, when I was a freshman, I was always out there, after the games, putting the goals away, grabbing the balls and stuff. And you got to put that stuff in. You got to put the work in before you get out on the pitch. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Let's pass that mic down to Zach, the man between the posts. Does it ever get lonely down there during a game? You're just kind of hanging out by yourself?
After doing it for so many years, you kind of figure out what to do back there. And I mean, usually it's a lot of talking and a lot of yelling, and people getting enough of hearing me. But it keeps me occupied.
And of course I kid. It was all in jest. But in all seriousness, you have one of the most unique positions in all of sports. Of course, you have goalkeepers in hockey too. But I feel like that game moves so fast that there's always people right there. You literally are the last line of defense for your team, and just kind of hanging out, have a lot of time to think on your own and play that mental game. What's your favorite part about playing goalkeeper? What made you want to get into that position in the first place?
Well, I picked it up when I was 12-ish, 13-ish. My club lost our goalkeeper that we had, and I was a field player at the time. And finally, no one would step up, and we needed one. And so I told my mom, was like, I'll give it a try. I will, let's get me signed up for some lessons here and there with, we had a team coach at the time for goalkeeping, and I just kind of picked it up. And then after that, it just kind of became a love of mine. I figured it out. It was fun. If I was good enough, I was the only one, and there was no one really challenging the position. And so I was able to make it my own. And our coach Brad has a really good way to put it. Goalkeepers are a special person and a special type of person, and so it takes a lot to be able to stay mentally strong and to be able to, like you said, entertain yourself back there with, managing, what's in front of me, and then also, figuring out what I need to do and where I need to be at the right points. So.
We're chatting with the men's soccer team here in the Dixie State 2019 Fall Sports Preview. Coach Boothe, back to you. It's the last stand for your team in the RMAC before we make that jump to Division I and the WAC. How big is this season in terms of building and setting a foundation for what we want this program to be in years to come?
That's definitely motivating for next year, but I think there's enough motivation from last year, and I don't think anything of the motivation the team has right now would be different if we weren't going D1. There would still be that extra, we know we can do better. A lot of it was unacceptable, and the way people and players have responded to it and about it, myself included, how we've kind of grown with it, I'm excited, because there's a lot of opportunity, and then the bonus is D1. I mean, a lot of players are excited for that. They are that level, that stage is impressive. So everyone's excited to get there, but there's so much motivation for this fall.
Well, so much work to do too, and I feel bad I bring it up over and over again, but I've loved the responses that they've gotten with each team. That's like, just stop talking about that. We got some stuff to do. We got some stuff to show on the field this year, and it's been fun to see that all the coaches and all these student athletes on their own too, but then the coaches have been, saying the right things and saying it's going to be great, but we've got a season to play this year.
Yeah, I mean, what Moy says about the RMAC is nothing negative, a long ball or any type of play. It's quality and it's effective and they're good at it. So there's a lot of respect we have for the RMAC, and so it's not going to be easy, and we know that's a challenge, let alone what we have ahead of us.
Absolutely. Speaking of Moy, let's go back to Moises. Take us through a scoring play. What's going through your mind as you're up there, you see the ball being played forward, you get the ball, you have a chance to make your move. At this point in your career, do you even have to think about what you're going to do? Does everything just kind of come naturally at this point?
I mean, I still got to think what I got to do, but with the team working forward and having a winger like Idris, it's pretty easy to get the ball in the net. I can already picture myself, I can already picture Idris going down the sideline and just crossing me that ball for a header.
If you had to choose a favorite type of goal to score, would it be a header?
No,
would it be
no.
like what, a bicycle kick maybe? Like what?
I guess the dream soccer forward goal would be a bicycle kick, but I've never done it. Probably in rec league I've done it, but not collegiate or anything. But probably a volley or something like that, coming out of the 18, just blasting it.
Would coach pull you out if you tried a bicycle kick?
No.
Just kidding.
No, not at all.
Matt, coming in as a defender, right? Playing that back line. What's your favorite part about being a defender? And along with that, how's this year's defense, that back line looking through the spring and through the fall?
Definitely favorite part would be a shutout. So as a defender, you hate getting scored on. It gets you angry. So obviously if you can go the full 90 without conceding, then not only have you shut out the other team, but you've probably put your team in the best possible position to win the game. So in terms of how our backline's looking, I'm very impressed. I'm pleased. We know it's not going to be easy, but we're so willing to put in that extra work and to go the extra mile that I think that we're going to definitely meet that standard that the RMAC requires. So, we have guys that kind of need to grow up a little bit. We have a lot of young guys. We're a young team as is, but to be honest with you, I'm very flattered with just how everyone has taken the preseason so far, and I think it's not going to go down. I think the closer we get to that opening game at Midwestern, it's just going to continue to rise.
Yeah, that's incredible, and it's only after day 3 of the fall. So, Coach, that's a credit to you and your staff and helping these guys be ready. Idris, kind of a same type of, you're a defender also, right? Maybe they move you around. I just kind of go by with what's on the roster. But you've played at defender at times throughout your career. Talk about what's needed in terms of being a solid defender and having chemistry with those guys on the back line back there with you. I mean, obviously, if you're not getting along with those guys, you're not going to be able to do the job and help keep the ball out of the net, right?
Yeah, I guess the main thing is just talking with your teammates, because communication breaks down, and then that's when we get scored on. Also being able to keep your head. I mean, sometimes I was guilty of not making the best decisions in the back. That's kind of why I got moved forward a little bit, maybe. But so just communication. That's what we got to work on.
So right now, right now, where are we playing you at right now?
I'm gonna have to ask Coach.
Just all over the place, finding the.
No, he's kind of moved his way up to a wing position, and he's done really well attacking crosses, and he's still a good defender, but he's been scoring goals. So.
Yeah, that's kind of happens when you get to college, right? You play one position in high school, and then you do what's best for the team, right? Zach, we've got a couple minutes left, so we got one more question for you. I know that we joked with you a little bit last time about being the guy being alone between the posts, but really, you get to be back there, and you mentioned this a little bit. You get to be back there, kind of coaching your back line throughout the game. Take us through that experience. What kind of stuff are you looking for as a goalkeeper, and how? Obviously, there's yelling, you're talking to him physically, but how is it that you communicate what you see to those teammates to make sure that they're in the right spots to help you out?
I mean, it's a lot of everything. You really have to, Matt says it perfectly, man. You really have to mend with your back line, and especially as a goalkeeper, because you get to see everything. You get to see the whole field. You get to, see plays develop before they happen, and kind of where we're weak in some points. And so with a fresher looking back line this year and a little bit younger one, it's lot of communication and a lot of trust. And so that ability to be able to have a conversation with your teammate off the field and then have that relay on the field with trust and communication is huge. And so for me personally, it's just a lot of, just from the past years, just trust. So like when something gets said, you know, that you do it no matter what you think of it, and then that way you know that like whatever you have them do, you know, they trust you full-heartedly. And if it's the wrong choice, then it comes back on me and then we adjust. But for the most part, just being able to have that connection, just to, no matter what is being asked of you, to be able to do it like 100%.
Absolutely. Guys, our time's run out here. It goes so quickly once we get you out here and get you talking, but we appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. We get to know you a little bit and really enjoy chatting with you. So we wish you the best of luck this season. The men's soccer team has a slate of scrimmages coming up, and then also they'll officially open the season at Midwestern State in Wichita Falls, Texas on September 5th. That's Thursday. And then they'll play against Dallas Baptist in Dallas as well on September 7th. So a trip to Texas in the book. South Central region teams, both of those teams.
Yeah, and it's moving into a giant region, a super region in the future as we exit into Division I. So California schools and Texas schools will be trying to play each other. It's a big region to get in the tournament. So
good preseason games, good non-conference games. I shouldn't call preseason, non-conference games to have. And then after that, the Trailblazers will make their first home stand. First home game September 13th against Eastern New Mexico. Tune in to check out DixieStateAthletics.com for the full schedule. Guys, thank you one more time. We got to take one final break. When we come back, we will wrap things up with the volleyball team defending RMAC champions. Final break and back with the final segment.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again. But an awkward silence can be a great thing, like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun is gonna shine on me. Sun is gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
5 minutes. We've been here forever. They're about to close the store. Would you just pick something already?
I just want to look good, you know. It's season 2 of Trailblazer Weekly. I just want to make sure I get the right one.
Look at all this great stuff they have here at the Dixie State campus store. No matter what you choose, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm just going to go with the first one.
Catch the Season 2 premiere of Trailblazer Weekly on Wednesday, August 14th at 3 p.m. Presented by the Dixie State Campus Store.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Well, it's been a fantastic day inside the CEC TV studios right here on the campus of beautiful Dixie State University in St. George, Utah. We're wrapping things up with the volleyball team defending RMAC champions as they get set to defend that title. It's been the 2019 Fall Sports Preview, and cannot tell you how excited I am to last the best of all the game, right? We save volleyball for last, and working around schedules, we appreciate it. I've told every coach and every team this. It's a short camp with school starting on Monday already. I know we're jamming everything into a short schedule, so I really appreciate you making the time to have your players here, Coach, and being part of our fall sports preview. This is one of the things I look forward to the most, is getting to know you players a little bit better and have these conversations with you, Coach. So we appreciate you making the time to be here and being here with us. So let's introduce everybody that's here. We've got head coach Robin Felder, and then some familiar faces here. We've got senior Lauren Gamble, junior Megan Trainer, and a junior Sydney Johnson hanging out with us today. Lots of good stuff to talk about, but first we're going to break the ice a little bit. We're going to get used to talking in those mics. We're going to have some fun. And I just asked the same question to the men's soccer team. I was surprised with their variety of their hobbies. So what's your favorite? We'll start with you, Coach. And I know as a coach, you probably don't do much besides just coach, right? It's 24/7, 365. Favorite hobby outside of volleyball? What's your go-to?
Probably beside my kids.
Yeah, as a mother, there's that too.
It would probably be reading or working out.
Okay.
So if I get a little bit of time, that's what I'm doing.
Lauren, favorite hobby outside of volleyball?
Well, obviously volleyball is my favorite, but I like outdoor stuff, hiking, fishing, that kind of thing.
Good. Fishing. What's your favorite fish to catch?
I don't know.
You don't know? Any fish.
Any fish. A goldfish.
Goldfish. There you go. Well, you mentioned fishing. I catch rainbow trout. Basically all I go for, so I'm not.
I'll go for that. Yeah. Rainbow trout.
Sydney?
I am from the Pacific Northwest, so I love staying outside. I love snowboarding and some good POW out there. I know everyone says Utah's got the best snow, but take a trip up to Washington, Idaho, Montana area.
Okay. Spokane is the hometown, right?
Spokane.
So, okay.
I'm a lot more boring than them. I like to nap, eat, draw, hang out with my family.
What are you talking about? That sounds great to me. Maybe it's just lunchtime and I'm getting hungry, but I need a snack and a nap here pretty quickly too. But there's one more thing. How about we'll play a little Would You Rather game, and then we'll just do the player. Oh, you played too, Coach. So here you go.
Okay.
Would you rather? There's a few different options: serve an ace, slam down a kill, or record a solo block.
Oh, slam down a kill, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Lauren.
Solo block.
Solo. I knew we were going with a solo block there. Sydney. Kill. Okay.
Solo block for sure.
Solo block. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Pretty evenly split. So just some questions to help the viewers out there get to know you a little better and to laugh and to have some fun, right? So now we'll jump into the nitty gritty and have some fun with this still. We're back to the grind this year after Coach announcing your present in style last year in the RMAC with the conference championship. How have the first few days of camp been this year, and how hungry do these players seem to want to just rinse and repeat and do it all over again?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the feeling. It doesn't seem like we took the summer off because we had an awesome spring. Girls are working so hard, and then I feel like we haven't skipped a beat. I mean, having all our setters back makes a huge difference because the chemistry that they create, they're able to find their hitters quickly. So, I mean, from the minute we walked in the gym, I was like, wow, did we even get away from spring at all? So it's been awesome to see the girls come back in shape. All of them just came back ready to rock, and they're just relentless. That's kind of been our word this fall so far. As you can just tell, they are hungry to repeat.
You know, it's been kind of a recurring theme with a lot of the players, and not necessarily the coaches saying, "Wow, you're in shape, you're ready to go." But do you think obviously with the transition to Division I, there's a little bit of a target on our backs. Even if, as a D2 member, you have this final season at D2. Do you think that has been on your players' minds over the summer to know that people are going to be gunning for us because there's that target on our backs. Plus, with your team defending RMAC champs, and they've put in the work over the summer, obviously.
Yeah, I think I just have kids that tick like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anyone has put that pressure on them but themselves. They want to be the best. So coming back for our last year of RMAC, it was like, okay, let's do it again. Let's make it our best year before we go D1 so that we just roll into D1 with confidence and championships. But I think we're really focused on this year. I mean, we can't wait for 2020, but this year really is our focus because we have to take care of business this year, and we've got some rivalries that we really want to settle. So we're excited.
We got the RMAC championship, but we got some unfinished business still, from what I'm hearing. Huh? That's good. That's exciting. Lauren, let's go to you. You had an incredible year last year, and when you really look at the numbers and think about everything that was accomplished, at least from an individual standpoint, it'd be hard to maybe top that year. But what have you been able to identify over this last year that say, maybe I can do that just a little bit better and be even better than I was last year?
Well, I think one thing, because like my defense with the blocking and stuff was so good last year, that this year I'm really trying to work on my offense. So connecting better with the setters and working on different hits, what to run, that kind of thing. Become
that true dual threat. Of course, you know, you had your moments and great offensive moments as well last year. So, Megan, you last year you wasted no time making an impact in your first year here at Dixie State. You came from Salt Lake Community College. Was there a learning curve from the junior college level up to the NCAAs? If no, I didn't really see it, but what did you learn last year that's going to help you be an even better player this year?
There was a difference. I definitely felt like my team here pushed me so hard, and everyone was just so hungry, and it just made me want to work harder and harder. But no, it was definitely a learning experience, and I don't know, I learned a lot from Dixie, and just excited to get better. What was maybe one thing that, say I'm an incoming freshman right now, I'm getting ready for my first game at the college level. What was something that you might be able to share with a younger teammate and say, hey, when you go out there at this level, this is going to be different than maybe at the JUCO level or in high school? It's definitely a lot faster volleyball. Just a lot faster. You got to work harder. A lot of communication. Just faster volleyball. That's the main thing. Absolutely. Sydney, you've been a big contributor on this squad the last couple of years as well, and that role is continuing to grow as you're a junior now this year. So let's talk about practice. And I know, yes, we're talking about practice. There's that whole Allen Iverson joke there, right? We're talking about practice. But I've been to some of those practices at volleyball, and they seem like they're just definitely a battle. Everyone just going at each other the whole time. How do those kind of inter-squad battles on a day-to-day basis, not even just from fall camp, but once you get into the season too, how do those inter-squad battles help the team perform better on game day?
Well, we have a big team, and everybody plays a really important role on the squad. And so in practice, our second line's pushing our first line, and we need everybody to commit to getting better and playing their role so that everyone's on their toes all the time. There's not much of a difference in the level of play from each side of the court. We keep that pretty balanced just with the competitive energy in the gym. Everyone in the gym wants that spot, and you just have to play your role and work hard. And so our practices really are our battle, and everyone's just trying their best to push the person in front of them or to stay up top. Absolutely.
Coach, let's go back to you for a minute. Let's talk about your coaching staff. I know that none of your assistants are here today. We wish we could have had room for all of them, but some familiar faces coming back from last year, and then a familiar face from a couple years ago, and Whitney Tupe is back. Talk about your coaching staff and those you have helping you this year, and really how important they are to this team's success year in and year out.
Yeah, this year we have 5 coaches, which is awesome. These girls are getting one-on-one feedback a lot. So we've got Dave back. Dave is a well-seasoned coach. Dave's the grandpa, loves everybody. Everybody's awesome. So he just fills that role so well as just being a constant encourager. Mackenzie Bird played here, was a stud for Dixie. So I think the fact that she's been here and she knows our system, she just fits so well, and she knows what we do. Having Whit back is awesome. I had Whit for 5 years before she took that stint at Snow, and now she's back, and it just hasn't skipped a beat. She's got more experience, leadership, so having Whit back is the best. And then we added another coach just recently. We added Mila Hafoka is her name. She's from BYU. So it's good to see her in a Dixie shirt instead of a BYU Hawaii shirt. But we were just talking about her. She's just no nonsense. She'll tell it straight up. She's a great setter and just a great leader. Honestly, she's gritty. So she just fits so nicely into what we're already doing.
And Lauren, let's go to you for this question. A senior When you think about the coaching staff, obviously there's the head coach, but then there's a lot of individual instruction from the assistants as well. How is that as a player, knowing that you have these 5 or 6 coaches with the head coach there to help you, and you can take something different from each one, and how important are each of those members of the coaching staff to you as a player?
It's super important. I think that it's so nice, like in practice, that you can have so much feedback, and things that you don't even realize that you're doing, you can be able to fix because they can see it from the outside perspective.
Absolutely. Megan, back to you as we continue along on the 2019 Fall Sports Preview. About 10 minutes left on the docket today. And again, like I said, saving best for last with the volleyball team. Megan, you're the team leader in kills last year, but you had your fair share of blocks as well. We kind of asked this in the would you rather question, but what's more satisfying, really, a kill or a block? Both team, you're getting a point for your team either way, but is there one that's more satisfying, or is it kind of a case-by-case basis depending on what's going on in the match?
I think a block is more satisfying. I'm not sure why, but it's just when you just get up there and roof somebody, it just feels real good.
Yeah, absolutely. So take me through, and Lauren, you can chime in on this too, because you're obviously the D2 leader in blocks per set last year. Take me through what's going through your mind when you're getting ready for a block. Give me through the timing. So you see the ball go over, there's the dig, the set, and then, this is a silly question looking from the outside in, but how do you know when to jump, right? Take me through that process when you're getting ready for that block.
Well, as a right side, you're talking with the middle a lot. The middle's always saying, like, what way it's going, when to go up. And the pin hitters are also saying, okay, ready, up. And you go up together and you close together, and you can feel like the middle next to you, and you want to close that block every time. So it's really just about like connection and using your like peripheral vision and just volleyball IQ kind of.
Yeah, no, that's it. Which volleyball IQ, mine is way down here. But Lauren, anything to add to that as an expert blocker over here? What's going through your mind? Like, are you even thinking at that point, or everything's just so natural? You've done it a million times. Your brain knows exactly when to tell you to jump.
Well, it's definitely from like experience. You kind of know like when
muscle
to,
memory.
But a lot of it is teamwork. You're working as a team to know which way to block. Like a lot of times in the middle, you don't know if it's going to be set back, if it's going to be to the outside, or if it's going to be quick in the middle. So it's really nice having teammates that can talk to you so you can know like when to jump up with them.
I tell you, of all the volleyball games I've been to in the Student Activity Center, some of those blocks are the loudest it ever gets. And especially if it's a set ending or a game ending block, it's pretty exciting. Sydney, over to you. As a stat, I help with the stats at your games, and I'll tell you, there's times where I get overwhelmed with the long rallies, the back and forth, the back and forth. As a player, how do you stay focused during those long rallies? And is that something that you enjoy? After a while, right? It's like, hey, let's see how long we can keep this. No, you want to end it, obviously, but how is it, mentally, how are you making sure that you're staying focused and trying to do what you need to do to end those long rallies?
I think a lot of that has to do with how we practice and staying mentally engaged during practice, and in those rallies and those long sets, just staying disciplined. I'm an outside, so making sure that like you transitioning so that you are an open option to set, and we do a lot of transition work from our block, and just staying disciplined and keeping, there's not a lot of time to think in the middle of everything, but trying to keep a steady mind on what you've learned and stay disciplined to that.
Absolutely. There's not a lot of time to think as the scorekeeper either at your games, and that's one of the things that I remember my first volleyball game that I helped stat. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I'm drinking from a fire hose here, but it's getting a little better now. So, but Coach, let's talk schedule a little bit. For the second year in a row, we were bringing some teams in, having the Desert Garden Inn by Wyndham Classic. How many teams are coming? How many matches are we going to see total? Do you know those numbers off the top of your head? It's a lot. I know that 3 days full of volleyball.
Yeah, we play 4 matches in those days. I think there is 11 total matches in 3 days. So we're really excited they're hosting again. It's awesome to have them host. They were such gracious hosts last year, and we've just got some teams that we've got some rivalry with. Really, honestly, Northwest Nazarene, when we knew we were going D1, I called him up and I said, Doug, it's our last year. And he was actually committed to another tournament, and he's like, man, I would love to come out there for your last year and do it again, because we play each other every year, and every year it's a dogfight. And so it was good that he finally made it happen and could come out so we could battle again.
And how many teams are returning? Do we have many teams they're the same from last year? Or there's a whole. I'm looking at the schedule right now. It looks like it's a whole new
group. We got Simon Fraser, we've got St. Cloud, we've got Stanislaus, Colorado Christian. I mean, just a whole new group of teams that we're excited to play.
And of course, we're back in the Burns playing some volleyball. I know we made a big deal out of that last year because that didn't happen again. But it was really I call myself a fan. I mean, I'm a staff member. As you're sitting watching, like, this is really cool. Like, this is a great venue for. Not that the SAC isn't. The SAC is very special and unique. But Lauren, as a team, we're excited to get back in the Burns. Right now, the workouts are probably in the SAC, and then we're doing a little bit of both. Yeah. But are we excited to get back in the Burns? And what was different about playing in the Burns last year than playing in the SAC? Obviously, the roof. But is that the main thing? Is there anything else? It's more open. Around, does that have an effect on anything?
Well, I mean, we all love playing in the SAC just because when you pack the SAC, like, it's so intimidating for other schools coming in to try to play against that. But there's just something about the Burns, being able to play in there, and just like the big environment. Obviously the roof is taller and you can fit more people into the stadium, so hopefully that we can be able to do that this year. And
Cindy, kind of same question for you. Like, you're in the Burns. I know I was like, some of the basketball teams that come in actually even have struggle with it a little bit because they're used to smaller gyms and there's a wall behind the basket. And as a volleyball player, do you notice empty space around you more than in basketball maybe, or is that you're just focused on the game? It doesn't really have an effect.
Yeah, you definitely notice it, but when your focus is the other side of the net and your team, then it kind of is more of the feeling, right? You're not looking around the arena, but you just feel the space. And with the Burns being a little bit bigger, we have more balls to chase down, more room for that, not get so many balls off the ceiling. So it just gives us a little bit more freedom, I guess. And I know the bench also loves to run around in the Burns.
In the Burns, yeah. The referees got to come over sometimes to, hey, settle down, stay on your side. Megan, we'll talk about playing in the SAC there. How was it? Was it hard for you to get used to the roof in the SAC being a little lower? I mean, that was probably the first time that you'd had anything like that in your career. By the end of the season, first week you were in mid-season form. Or was it? Those are things that I look at. No big deal, or was it? How big of a learning curve was that?
I mean, at first it was kind of tough to get used to because they dig a ball and it hits off the ceiling and then it goes a complete opposite way. So you just got to learn to stand under and be ready to dive anywhere, really. So I think it's fun sometimes. It's nice for, honestly, the opponents because they aren't used to it most of the time. And we are. So sometimes it's an advantage.
So, Coach, you're going to host the Classic here inside the Burns, and then you're headed down to Lubbock, Texas for 4 more matches, the Lubbock Christian Chap Classic, Texas Permian Basin, Southwest Oklahoma State, Pittsburgh State, even Lubbock Christian, teams that I haven't seen on the schedule here in the last little while. Talk about what it means to get down there and play some of those other South Central teams and experience that style of volleyball so that, and I'm saying when we get through the RMAC and into the South Central regionals, you're ready for some of those teams.
Yeah, I think that was why we really put that weekend the way we did, is that we just wanted to see other teams in the region. Every conference has its own style of play. The Pac West was totally different than the RMAC. And, the other conferences in our region have similar styles that we just aren't used to. So we definitely wanted to take a look at some of those teams. Lubbock Christian was one of the top teams last year. So we wanted to get a good matchup with them and see how we fare against some of those top teams in the region. So that definitely was our goal in setting that up.
You look at the conference schedule, you get the South Dakota teams here. So no trip to Mount Rushmore this year, but no long trip out to South Dakota this time. But talk about that conference schedule, and you get your first 2 conference games at home, Coach, and then 4-match trip out on the road. And how excited are we to get back into conference play? I'm sure some of those rivalries and maybe some of that unfinished business is with maybe a team or two in the conference as well, right? Am I right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think for us, just seeing all these teams again, last year we were the unknown, so I think we just surprised a lot of people, and this year there's just not going to be any surprises. We're going to have to perform every night. The target is bigger this year, but I really feel like we've got a group of girls that are already ready for those rivalries, ready for that target. They're not afraid of that target at all. I was just asking Lo, who are you most excited to play this year? And she's like, Mesa. We want Mesa, so I know every one of these guys has just like a different matchup that's like just bad blood that you just want to play them again and compete. So we're ready.
Yeah, and that's okay. You have certain teams that you want to play and get ready for. About a minute and a half left here on the fall sports preview. Coach, talking to the men's soccer team and women's soccer too, and that there was distinct differences in the style of play in that specific sport in the Pac West versus the RMAC. Was there anything noticeable in volleyball, or is volleyball pretty much the same across the board?
Anything different? For me, the middle was definitely different. Like Pac West blocks more blockers in the middle. The RMAC only had one blocker. RMAC was definitely a more defensive conference than offensive. Pac West had a bunch of bangers that would just get up and wail on the ball. So those were definitely some changes I noticed. Anything else? Is that about it?
Well, there you go. Well, ladies, in one word, how excited are you for this season?
Super.
Amped.
Stoked.
Super amped, stoked. I like it. The Dixie State Volleyball getting set for their first matches. They will host, like we mentioned, the Dixie State Desert Garden Inn by Wyndham Classic. Those first games will be September 5th, a Thursday. The Trailblazers will play St. Cloud State that night, and then Simon Fraser on Friday, as well as Stanislaus State on Friday, and then the big matchup on September 7th, a Saturday, against Northwest Nazarene. Well, thank you so much for being part of our fall sports preview today, taking the time to be here. That'll do it. Our fall sports preview in the books. We've talked to all 6 fall sports teams and gotten their thoughts on the upcoming season and just the ins and outs of how they compete as coaches and student athletes on a daily basis. We want to thank Andy Thompson back in the ESPN 97.7 FM studios, and thank all of our great CEC TV crew. We're ready for a great fall sports season. For Keric Seegmiller and all of our great student athletes, have a great day.